Hey guys, so today we are starting a new unit on dividing fractions. So we're going to be doing division of fractions and whole numbers today. So your essential question is, how do you divide a whole number by a fraction and divide a fraction by a whole number? So we are going to look at, I don't know why it's not scrolling very well. We're going to look at this investigate problem. If you want to follow along on page 491, you can. So it says, I'm having some technical difficulties. Okay. So Mia walks a 2-mile fitness trail. She stops to exercise every 1/5 of a mile. How many times does Mia stop to exercise? So what we need to do, we're trying to divide 2 by 1/5 because we want to see how many 1/5 are in 2. So it says to draw a number line from 0 to 2. And they've already done that for you. They drew this number line from 0 to 2. And then it says label each fifth on your number line. So in between 0 and 1, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fifths. And in between 1 and 2, there's 5 fifths. So we need to label each fifth on our number line. So starting with 0, 0 is the same as 0 fifths, right? It's just 0. So then we're going to go 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, 5/5, which is the same as 1, 6/5, 7/5, 8/5, 9/5, and 10/5. So, and you can see that 10/5 is the same as 2, because if we took this improper fraction of 10 over 5 and asked ourselves how many times does 5 go into 10, it would go in twice with nothing left over, so it would just be 2. So we have labeled each fifth on our number line. So we're going to skip count by fifths from 0 to 2 to find 2 divided by 5. So we're trying to figure out how many fifths are in 2 wholes. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 10 1/5 in 2 wholes. So this, let me go down. All right, I'm going to erase this. It will scroll for me. So we said that there's 10 1/5 in 2 wholes. So that's the same as 2 divided by 1/5, which gives me 10. Because 10 times 1/5 equals 2. And we saw that in our number line. We did 10 times 1/5 when we jumped 10 times to get to 2. So Mia stops to exercise 10 times. So that's how you would solve it with a number line, as well as a model. So I'm going to show you how to solve it just with numbers, with calculations. So if we have 2 divided by 1/5, we briefly went over this in class a few weeks ago, just to review for the NC check-in. So my first step is to take this whole number of 2 and convert it into a fraction. All I have to do to make it into a fraction is put it over 1. And now we need to remember our KFC, which is keep, flip, and change. All right, so I've got my first fraction. I keep my first fraction. So my first fraction stays as 2 over 1. I flip my second fraction. So when I flip 1/5, it becomes 5 over 1. And then I change my sign. So I change my sign from division to multiplication. 2 times 5 equals 10. 1 times 1 is 1. So 10 over 1 is the same as 10. So we got the same answer using our number line and using our calculations. Okay. Let's look at the B part of 491. So it says Roger has 2 yards of string. He cuts the string into pieces that are 1/3 yard long. How many pieces of string does Roger have? So it says to use fraction strips, but since I'm doing this on the board, I'm going to use a number line. So here's my number line. We have 2 holes, so I'm going to put 0 is going to be here, 1 is going to be here, and 2 is going to be here. So I need to cut this into 1/3. So I'm going to thirds everything between 0 and 1 and 1 and 2. So all right, so this would be 1/3, 2/3, 3/3 or 1, 4/3, and 5/3. And then this 2 would be 6/3, which would be the same as 2. All right, so we have cut our holes into thirds. So now we need to see how many pieces of string does Roger have if he cuts each piece of the string into 1/3. So we have to see how many 1/3s are in 2 holes is what we're trying to figure out. So we can start at 0. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 1/3 size pieces in 2 holes. So this is the same as 2 divided by 1/3 is 6 because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 1/3 is 2. So he has 6 pieces of string. All right, so I'm going to solve this now with just calculations. So we have 2 divided by 1/3. We need to remember our KFC. Keep, flip, change. So first I need to make my whole number into a fraction by putting over 1. Now I keep the first fraction, which is 2 over 1. Flip the second one, so 1/3 gets flipped into 3 over 1. And then I change my sign to multiplication. 2 times 3 is 6. 1 times 1 is 1. 6 over 1 is the same as 6. So we solved it using our number line, and then we solved it using our calculations. All right, we're going to scroll down, if it will scroll for me. I might have to scroll on my computer real quick. All right, so we're going to look on page 493. So we have number 1. They've already drawn a fraction strip for you, which is very similar to the number line. It just doesn't have the little notches. So we want to do 3 divided by 1/3. So all we're trying to figure out here is how many thirds, 1/3s, are in the whole number 3. So if we look at our fraction strip, we've got 1. Oops. There's 1 1/3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So there are 9 1/3s in the whole number 3. So 3 divided by 1/3 is 9, because 9 times 1/3 also equals 3. Because if I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times 1/3, I would get a whole 3. All right. Let's scroll down. On number 2, we have a number line. So we have already practiced with our number line. So I'm going to go ahead and look at number 4, where they have not giving you anything. So I want you guys to draw a number line. If you have fraction strips at home, you can use them, but I want you guys to draw a number line. So let's look at number 4. I am going to get a little square here so that I can have room to work out a problem. So I have 1 divided by 1/3. So with my number line, first I'm going to solve it with my number line, and then I'm going to solve it using calculations. So I've got 0 is here, 1 is here, because we're just dividing it by, we're doing 1 divided by 1/3. So I need to third this little number line. So I've got 0/3, 1/3, 2/3, 3/3. So I'm going to go ahead and write that below. 1 is the same as 3/3, or 3/3. So now I'm just trying to figure out how many 1/3 are in 1. So I've got 1, 2, 3. So there are 3 1/3 and 1 whole. How I could do this with my calculations would be 1 divided by 1/3, make my 1 into a fraction, and then I'm going to go over on this other side and I'm going to do KFC. So I'm going to keep my first fraction, which is 1/1. I'm going to flip my second fraction, which will be 3/1, and I'm going to change my sign from division to multiplication. 1 times 3 is 3, 1 times 1 is 1, so 3/1 is the same as 3. So we got 3 on our number line and our KFC calculation. All right. For your assignment today, scroll down. You're going to do page 495. So you're going to use the fraction strips as well as the number lines to find your answer. I also want you to use calculations to check yourself. All right, let me know if you guys have any questions. Thank you.